and welcome back to another hard-hitting episode of Friday Night Fights. We are covering Season 11, Division 4D of Rebbl, and with me, as always, is Charles.
Hello, Wolf.
Hey, how's it going, Charles?
I'm good.
How's the weather down there in Brazil?
Oh, it's kind of rainy and then hot, and then rains again and gets cold. It's weird right now.
Yeah, we're having some weird weather too up here in the middle of the United States. Let's take a look at our teams. You know, I did contact the two coaches that we have not got on the show. And
did you?
Yeah, one of them got back to me. He's never even seen the show. Didn't even know there was a show. And I asked him,
boy.
I know. And I asked him, "Do you want to be on the show?" And he hasn't got back to me. So maybe he's not. Maybe he'd actually heard us and realized, oh, I don't want to tarnish my image going on that nonsense. So right. We may not get them. If we don't get them, we'll try to have somebody else fill in that knows how to coach the teams that we missed. What we'll do is we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come right back and we'll take a look at last week's results with our scorecard. Welcome back to Friday Night Fights. This is our scorecard. We take a look at last week's results, kind of go over the games. We're going to go right into our game of the week last week, which was Dazed and Confused versus the Bogue Bombers.
Right.
Let's take
Bombers closer and closer to clinching this division.
Yeah, 1-2 win over Dazed and Confused. Dazed and Confused getting plenty of armor breaks. Let's take a look at some statistics here. The Bogue Bombers, though, held the ball 75% of the game. Woof! 2 passes, 2 catches, and I figured out the problem with this game, Charles.
What?
Dazed and Confused, 34 blocks, 0 casualties, 0 deaths, 0 interceptions. Bogue Bombers took 62 blocks, 5 KOs, 2 casualties, no deaths. So I think, I'm just looking at those numbers, there was not very many permanent, the casualties sustained 2. You would expect with 62 blocks, maybe a few more.
That's a lot of blocks. Yeah,
you got hit a lot.
That's the game I watched.
Okay.
If I may go over it.
Yeah.
So the humans, they get a dip kick, which is very important against Nurgle. The kick player makes a big difference in the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Later, the beast goes stupid. Right at the beginning of the turn, and the Nurgle are focused on blocking. They cannot farm a proper cage because the beast is not providing tackle zones.
Yeah.
And then the humans, they get kind of easy dodges and they sack the ball. So the humans recover that ball and they do a nice chain push play later to be able to run away. And then I don't know if they didn't have enough movement to score up there, or if they decided to stall. They get based and they 1-in-9 a dodge, so the Nurgle recovers. And then the humans respond with a 3-man fireball, which takes down 2 players and puts the ball on the ground, and they are able to just stand up, do some dodges, get the ball and score. So that's 1-0. And then, yeah, the fireball was good, but then the Nurgle answered with their own improbable play because they have a fast drive, like 3 turns, and they do a long pass and they score.
Oh, sure, why not?
Yeah,
2
when
passes.
Nurgle does that, it's so good.
When Nurgle 2 passes, 2 catches in this game, that's amazing.
Yeah, and then that's 1-1, end of the first half. Second half, the humans keep the ball back and safe, and the Nurgle just win the line of scrimmage. That's when they get all of those blocks.
Okay.
They just dominate there. And the Nurgle actually has a chance to sack the ball, but they 1-in-36 the GFI before going for the sack.
Oh.
And I actually felt like a little bit different positioning would make the score on the humans much more difficult, but sometimes you don't think about the 1-in-36. It's not gonna happen often, right?
Well, it's probably only going to happen 1-in-36 times, I would assume.
Right.
Oh, okay. Such a smart guy. I know.
And then that leaves way for the humans to do a 4+ handoff then dodge out. One die blitz, the safety, the Nurgle let back, and it's a stun on top of that. And then the Nurgle have nobody to actually blitz the ball. They are just able to base, and the humans dodge and score. So it could have been a draw with a little bit different dice or a little bit different positioning there. But the humans, they play well and they get lucky when they need to. That's why they're undefeated and on top.
Yeah, that's the only thing that stood out to me really here is the injury rolls. The Bogue Bombers only failed 2 injury rolls, so I mean they got, with all those blocks taken against them, you would think it would be a little higher than that, but other than that, cool.
But this is the time where Nurgle and humans are level, right? As soon as this Nurgle gets a little bit more claws and mighty blows, you will not be able to take 62 blocks like that.
That's very true. I think they're overlapping right now, and when they peak, humans peak right around now, and Nurgle just starts to get good. So right around now, once you get block on all your big guys. Let's take a look at our next game. Scott Pop and Skavens and Draktar Squad have not played their game. For shame. Varian Solarian 2-1 win over the Sterling Hornets. That's got to be a little bit of an upset.
Well, both of you thought the Lizardmen would win.
Yeah.
I was the only sucker going for the Elves and I lost.
Yeah, you did. Let's take a look at some statistics here. The Lizardmen held the ball 56% of the time, 25% in their half, 31% in the opponent's half. 47 blocks, 5 injuries inflicted, 1 kill, 2 KOs. See, that's what I would expect to see more of.
Right.
Yeah, because the Sterling Hornets there took 6 casualties and 1 death, 3 KOs. That's just a proper beating, I assume.
Yeah, but 47 blocks is a lot, so that's, when you're AV7, that's kind of what happens.
That is. The Lizardmen pick up a nice chunk of skill points. The Hornets pick up skill points on 2 players. Let's take a look at anything interesting in the dice log here. I don't see anything for Solarian.
How's the Elf dodging?
Elf dodging, they succeeded 18 times, failed 8 times, so 69% dodge rate.
So yeah, that's bad.
You would think that would be up at like 91 or so, 93? 87?
83.
83, okay.
Yeah.
Catching, 1 failed catch. Oh, here's an interesting pickup. 3 success, 2 failures. So they were having a little trouble picking up the ball as well. Just one of those bad days where all that strength can just come and just start pounding on you, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and suddenly you're out of position. You have to dodge, and maybe you fail some of those, and then there's more blocks and more removals. And it all, it's a snowball, right?
It snowballs right from there. Now, the Grumble Grot Gorgers Beer Brawl Club 0-1 win for the Beer Brawl Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Let's take a look here. Because I think I picked the Gorgers, didn't I?
No, I was the one who believed in them, but it wasn't to be this time.
Oh, I like that you're wrong in all these. Usually I'm wrong in all these.
Huh. This week my picks have been very bad.
The Brawl Club put 53 blocks on the Gorgers. That's amazing. Almost twice as many as they got the other way.
Yeah, they got the Dauntless players and the star player with Dauntless Patrol Slayer, right?
Dauntless is so good against ogres.
Yeah.
Let's take a look here. Yeah. Oh my god. Dauntless was successful 52% of the time. So 13 times it worked. 12 times it didn't, but even when it doesn't work, you're usually lined up for a 1 die anyway. Against guys who don't have block.
Of the guard.
Good try, guys.
Yeah, I thought a big difference in this game was the dwarves were able to disengage because of the kickoff event. So there was a big front line of ogres, a bunch of strength 5 in their face, and then the kickoff event where you get a free movement point.
Yeah.
They just disengage, they make a base, and the ogres, they go straight to the cage dive. I think it is a bit too eager, let's say, especially because they used the reroll in a previous GFI on the turn. I don't know if it was a misclick or something, but they used the reroll on that, and they still try for the cage dive, which I would say if you already use the reroll, maybe it's not the time to cage dive.
Yeah.
So then that opens way for the dwarves to kind of control that line of scrimmage because of they have block. The ogres mostly don't have block, and they have dauntless to help it and guard. Also, I felt like the ogres, they kept the nobblers safe, but then the nobblers were so far away that they couldn't help anyway, so it's just the ogres fighting dwarves and losing the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And then during the process of the drive, they tried 2 more cage dives and both of those failed. And then the dwarves, they just switched sides and they advance and score. So that's the 1-0. And the second half, the ogres keep it tighter. The nobblers are actually useful, providing some assists, fouling sometimes. And then the blocking is much closer this time. They have trouble moving the ball because they fail back-to-back 1 in 36s, which it's difficult to plan around back-to-back turns like that. They eventually make a heroic break for it, like with an ogre dodging, escaping, sack attempts, all that, but it was never going to be easy to score because the opponent had a fireball, wizard, and they do make kind of a mistake because they throw 1 GFI, that GFI fails, and it wasn't really needed. They were already in a good position. If you have strength 5 surrounded by some guard around it, that extra GFI is the way the opponent's gonna catch you down, and that's what happened. So 1-0 for the dwarves.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a hard matchup. Once dwarves start getting guard on you, and with Dauntless, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't realize they would have the wizard and the star player, so that made a big difference as well.
I think Grumble Gorgers is still a little bloaty. I don't know that he's trimmed that team down at all.
Yes, I was thinking about it when I watched the game, the fact that he protected the Nobblers so much. Maybe having just rookie Nobblers, you could have more of them.
Yeah, you wouldn't be worried about them dying.
Right.
Alright, let's take a look at Mass Bolt's 2-1 win over Sweet Teeth Forever. Now, I don't remember how we went on this one.
Everyone picked the Mass Bolts and they won.
Alright, well, that's unfortunate. No drama there. 50% ball possession for the Mass Bolts, 37% for Sweet Teeth. 4 casualties. Sweet Teeth took. Oh, so the Mass Bolts just punched the heck out of them, it looks like. My goodness. I did not expect that. 31 blocks to 35 blocks. Yeah, just the casualties started mounting. Let's take a look. Mass Bolts. Armor failing or holding up 70% of the time. Only 1 injury that they suffered because of that. Let's see. Sweet Teeth Forever in armor held up 70% of the time, but their injuries. Here's the difference in the game, I assume. 5 times they didn't get injured. 6 times they did get injured. So that's 45% injury rate. That is ugly.
How was the
Regens 50%, 2 for 2. But even with that, though, I mean, you're going to be off the field with so much more and not be able to make position.
Yeah, so then they don't have a proper killer, and the elves can disengage where they need to get assists elsewhere.
And the elves are just as fast as your ghouls, so you can't really speed by them.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. But it happens. Admin game, Rebel Chief Thieves should take that one. And bring out your undead. 1-0 win over the Commanders in Grief. Now, I picked the Commanders in Grief on that one.
You didn't.
Oh, I didn't? What?
Yeah.
I did?
You were kind of back and forth. And then you decided to stick to your first gut instinct and get the Camry.
Yeah, that's a lot of strength on that team, but I like the uniforms of Commanders in Grief. Let's see. 37% ball possession for the undead, 31%, so fairly even. Looks like the undead popped the ball on the opponent's half. Here's an interesting one. 60 blocks succeeded by the undead. Only 43. I say only 43. That's still actually a pretty good game. 43 for the Commanders. Let's see. Let me take a look here. Any deaths? No deaths. 2 casualties on the undead, 1 on the commanders, 4 KOs for the commanders. So my guess here is they just got a couple of knockouts, got rolling and scored, and that was it. Armor held up 76% of the time. Injury, only 2 injuries. And commander and grief, fairly successful. So all around, just it looks like it's just a bashy game where the KOs started mounting, and I assume the
The
undead.
team with more strength.
Yeah,
Got,
you get to
more
keep
bashy.
rolling dice no matter what, because it's hard. Once you start losing bodies, you can't really mount any kind of defense against strength teams like that. But
Yeah,
that'll
it seems like they protected those AV7 players well. No?
yeah, that will change, I'm sure, next season if you guys face each other. Once the orcs start getting a little more guard and mighty blow and piling on, and I think the Khemri team's pretty much peaking their first season. It's all downhill from here. So enjoy that slide. Sorry.
If you look at Division 1 right now,
Uh-huh.
the top team is a Khemri team, so
Wait. Who is that coach?
McMackey.
Oh, okay. So if you're McMackey,
Yeah.
you're fine. But if
Right,
if you're a human,
It's-
if you're a normal human, good luck.
Yeah, for those who don't know him, McMackey is an amazing coach. Both of us have played in divisions with him.
I hated playing in the
Yeah.
division with him. Ugh.
Yeah, pretty much spotless play. He squeezes out the pitch. He doesn't give you anything. It's very difficult.
And I think, has his team rolled any doubles up there yet? Because for a while he hadn't rolled any doubles and he was still winning. It was just annoying. I was like, ugh.
I think he has a block guy.
Okay, he's finally got somebody with a double. He doesn't deserve it. Somebody in that division needs to start claw bombing him, getting him out of there. All right, I think
Yeah.
that winds up. That is all the games. So why don't we take a quick commercial break and we'll come back with our leaderboard in the pound for pound segment. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. Juvasek is on assignment again. He can't mail us in his reply, so we'll just skip over his segment. We'll take a look at Charles. Who do you have for? What are we looking at? Our heavy hitters for the week.
Heavy hitters for
All
the
right.
week. Yeah.
What do you got up?
We've got Minecraft again. He was here last week. He scored 3 touchdowns last week and 2 this time. So 2 games, 5 touchdowns for this monster.
Nice, he's on fire.
And then we got a new addition to the heavy hitters, which is Veshnek getting 1 knockout and 2 injuries in the Bloodfairing Solarian win.
Yeah, that's a nice day. Definitely a good day. Let's see. Tired of the elf catchers getting on this board, so somebody has to kill those. I mean, you've only got like 1 or 2 games left, so be sure to kill more elf catchers. Otherwise, next season it's going to be a nightmare to deal with. Right.
Yeah, and the Tacklesaurus
Tackle
thing
source.
for
That-
them,
yeah,
right?
that-
Because they were facing elves, I think.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that paid off. All right, let's take a look at our pound for pound leaderboard here and see who's on top, who's making moves. Looks like the Bogue Bombers still sitting there at first place.
Yeah.
Eight wins. I don't see how they get unseated at this point, unless they lose both of the last games.
Yes, it's very difficult for them to lose the playoff spot, so probably looking at not getting injuries.
Yeah. Jericho Peppers is in 5th place, but he will get an automatic win, so he'll have 7 wins, but he'll only get 1 touchdown, which doesn't work in his favor.
Yeah, so that means we have 4 teams fighting for the Challenger Cup spot,
Right.
probably.
Yeah, that's going to be a good Challenger Cup spot right there. And I think, what are we looking at? The top 5. Yeah. Okay, so Rand, Bring Out Your Undead, Mass Bolts, Days of Confused, Rebel Cheese Thieves all have a chance at that Contenders Cup is what I would guess here. I
Yes.
assume Commanders in Grief, that's the cutoff point where 5 wins is just not going to get you into it. Because you have to hope that everybody else loses, and then your touchdown differential still can't make that difference up.
Yeah, and they are facing each other, so you have to pull for them to draw and then
Draw with no
and then-
touchdowns, yeah.
Right, so it's difficult.
It's difficult.
Probably looking at next season. Though.
Yep, so start playing, just kill the other teams in your division and get some skill points. Other than that, everybody else, I assume, is out. Yeah, everybody else is out of it at this point, but you can develop for next season, or don't quit. That's the biggest thing. Don't let the rest of the division down. Scott Pop and Skavens, are they going to get their win? Still winless. They're gonna get one admin win, right? That's their only one.
Yeah, so that means they have only one more shot at getting a real win.
You know what's interesting is the two coaches that we couldn't get on the show are on opposite sides of the spectrum. Where Infant Melt I contacted, he couldn't, or he didn't get back to me, and then B Dog is on top and he didn't get back to me. So it's just weird that like you would think like if you're on the bottom maybe you're just salty and you don't want to get on the show, but I don't understand why the number one guy won't come on the show. So that's interesting.
Yeah, maybe we just go for the average people.
We're an average show. We might as well go for average people.
Superstars don't want to talk to us, and the people who are struggling also don't want to talk to us.
Well, that makes sense. We are very below average here on this show. All right, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and we'll take a look at our contender series. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. This is our contender series where we take a look at one of the teams in the division. Usually we get the coach on the line. Now, we can't get the coach for this team on, so we elected to bring in somebody who knows their way around a Skaven team. Charles went and looked for the best coach that he could find.
Yes.
We had to settle for Kallisti, though, so KallistiMaya has graciously come into the division to take a look at this team. How are you doing, Kallisti?
I'm good. I'm also, you're quite on the mark there. I'm not the best Skaven coach, but I do know my way around Skaven. So.
Yeah, you're better than us, so that's fine. You're going to help us take a look at Scott Pop the Skavens. Let me pull up his roster here. Now, he's been wiped out, it looks like. He's got the important pieces, Gutter Runners. Well, 3 of them. Needs 1 more. Rat Ogre. Charles, what kind of things did you want to take a look at here?
Right, let's start by the Rat Ogre. I guess it's a way of taking less damage, but it's not usual, is it?
The guards and the horns. Yeah. Okay, so with the Rat Ogre, you can take it on your first season. When it dies, it dies. You don't replace it. Just a little bit of an info burst for Infant Melt there. I think taking guard and horns it's a very heady mix. I wouldn't take guard because on a Rat Ogre, because of the wild animal, it's a big guy that I just wouldn't take guard on. I would focus on having break tackle and having Juggernaut.
So you would be looking into blitzing with him then?
Oh yeah, always be blitzing with him. There's not a good piece to just because of wild animal. You try to move it around. It's on a 4+. Blitzing or blocking, it's on a 2+. Or wild animal will kick in. So it's one of those pieces that if you're going to have it on the team, you need to use it and you need to be blitzing with it. The reason why it's not often taken after the first season, the Rat Ogre, is because it takes away from your Storm Vermin. With your Storm Vermin, you want to be leveling them, you want to be focusing on getting them SVP, probably more than any other piece on your team. The Gutter Runners are your superstars, but the Storm Vermin takes so much longer to level. And if you have Rat Ogre you're having to blitz with, otherwise he's pig useless, then you're not blitzing with your Storm Vermin, you're not getting SPP on them. So it can be a real sort of detracting factor. It's good for initial burst, but I mean, when this Rat Ogre dies out, don't replace him.
Right, and you touched into another subject that's interesting about both our Skaven teams, is that they are struggling to keep those blitzers alive. It's just been a season, and between them they lost 4 blitzers.
Right.
So how important are their development to the team overall, and do you have any tips to keep them alive?
Amazingly important, like super important. So with your superstars of your team, your Gutter Runners, everyone's like, oh, Skaven, they got the Gutter Runners, you can do 1-turners, they can do amazing things. They are amazing. They also level like devils. You know, you can take a rookie Gutter Runner, and you can, if you focus on it, you can pretty much have that guy leveled, at least leveled 6 SVP within a game. Not a worry. I can do that every game in, game out. Storm Vermin, you might be lucky and get a level after a game or two. You might go sort of half a season before you get that first level. They are super important because they're the only pieces on your team that have any strength access. They're the only pieces on your team with any real punch. And a Skaven team without developed Storm Vermin, especially when you get sort of further along, a few seasons in, you're just going to struggle. You're going to struggle so hard.
Do you build both of them as killers?
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's one thing that I see a lot of Skaven coaches doing, and I suppose there's nothing wrong with it.
Do you just differentiate what their killing is? Like maybe one has tackle, whereas the other focuses on pile on mighty blow.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say that I wouldn't take guard on your Storm Vermin. Something that I see quite often is that they'll take coaches will take guard on the Storm Vermin. Yes, you need guard. Yes, Storm Vermin are the only pieces that have access to guard, but you also need to focus on them being killers. Killers first and foremost, and then if you have an amazing killer and you've got a new one that you're developing, if you wanted to get guarded with it along with a few other support skills, then maybe that might be okay. But especially when you're starting out, develop both your Storm Vermin as if they're going to both be killers. Go Mighty Blow first. If you get Claw at any or doubles at any point, you take Claw and even ahead of Mighty Blow, even though it's kind of detrimental.
Really?
Obviously because you're not sure you're going to get Claw or get doubles to get Claw. So if you see it, you take it, and you just have to grin and bear sort of the next couple dozen games until you manage to get Mighty Blow. So yeah, Mighty Blow, Claw, Tackle. I would go Tackle over Pom, or Piling On, sorry. Because I think Tackle is a more universally useful skill. But the Claw Pom combination is lethal. But I would definitely still take, to make sure that your killers still have utility, I would take Tackle first, then Pom, or maybe have one go Mighty Blow, hopefully Claw, Tackle, and then Piling On, and the other one go Claw, Mighty Blow, Claw, Piling On, and then Tackle.
Sure.
From there on out, I would probably go. I'd have one that would go to Juggernauts, and then if you got Claw, I would go for your Legend skill, Frenzy. Juggernaut is a hugely underrated skill.
Yes, it's
definitely
very scary.
It is very scary and it's very, very useful. So I would definitely, after the essential ones, which is the Mighty Blow, the Claw, the Piling On, the Tackle, I would take Juggernaut on one piece at least. And then what I found to be a useful combination is you have one that's Juggernaut and Frenzy, and then another one that is Grab, because there is a great synergy between the two, so the Juggernaut and Frenzy and the Grab, because you can have the Grab one set up the Blitz, and then the other one, the Frenzy piece, Blitz, and pretty much for sure get a Surf.
Now, one of the important questions I forgot to ask you just about this particular team here is, what do you think of these uniforms? Man, those are dead sexy, aren't they? All right.
Of course, you wouldn't be you without a commentary on the uniform.
Well,
right?
no, somebody has to raise the morale of this team because they've been getting crushed. But man, they've been looking good doing it. This Edge 2 Storm Vermin, how long do you keep him? I mean, he doesn't have much development here, so I guess you keep him for now.
I would keep him until he gets another. Like, the agility bust on a Storm Vermin is not ideal, but it's not going to end the piece. I would much rather take an agility bust on a Storm Vermin than any other bust.
Yeah.
And that includes Niggles. Because at the end of the day, having agility 3 so you can debase if you screw things up is useful, but it's not the end of the world if you don't.
The gutter runners are picking the ball up anyway, so
exactly.
I mean, yeah.
Exactly.
Throwers on the team. Do you keep throwers on the team, or do you get rid of them and just use gutter runners?
This is me, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know my team.
No.
But up until this season, I had a Blodge, Strength 4, Agility 4, Tackle, Thrower.
Oh.
He was a vampire thrower, a blodged vampire thrower. He was amazing, and he was very bloaty. I would, on a usual basis, I would recommend having a thrower for your first season, and then, like the Rat Ogre, when he dies, and you don't replace him, because by then you should have gutter runners that have developed enough that one of them can have sure hands.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about this team, Charles?
Oh,
So-
yeah, the predilection for sure feet. How do you feel about that? And any tips on the gutter runners?
Yeah, so I've been looking at this team, and this is advice for both Skaven coaches. I haven't looked at the other team yet, but I'm just going to give this advice because I think it's important advice to give.
Yeah.
So when you're building your Skaven team, the build is a little bit different than I think a lot of other teams. You know, with an Orc team, you can have most of your pieces have Mighty Blow, Guard, Tackle, and then a few other skills, but pretty much they're predominantly all centered around Bash. With your Skaven team, your positionals need to have a role. So your Storm Vermin are killers, and it's your Gutter Runners. The Gutter Runners are the way that you assign skills to them is super important, because they are the superstars of your team, and you can develop each Gutter Runner with a specific role in mind. So they each one of them serves a particular focus, has a particular focus, and serves a particular role on the team. If we take a look at my team, for example, I have a one-turning Gutter Runner. I have a Gutter Runner that specializes in ball retrieval. So he has big hand, he has leap, and he has sidestep, and he can basically jump in, grab the ball when it's been dislodged, and run off with it and pass it on to somebody else who scores. That's his job. I have another Gutter Runner that is centered, or I had another Gutter Runner. He died, but who was centered around being a ball hawk. He had two heads. He had wrestle. He had strip ball. He had tackle. He had dauntless. His entire job, the entire reason for him being on the pitch, was to jump into cages, weave the way through screens, and get the ball off of the ball carrier. That's entirely what he was built for. I had another Gutter Runner that was has skills specialized around like sort of diving tackle, shadowing, sidestep. So he's the really annoying piece that you can't shake, and it will hopefully cause a turnover. All of your Gutter Runners are fantastic at scoring, but they should all have a very specific role in mind. When you're building your Gutter Runners, you should have a focus to having each Gutter Runner have a role.
Okay, so that's a big difference between the builds of our two Skaven teams?
Yes, exactly. So basically, this looks like Infant Melt is hoping that one of his Buck or Splinter will roll a movement up. His entire focus is centered around getting out one turn in Gutter Runner.
So really, should you wait to see who gets the move up and then maybe work on having him become a one-turner? Because it seems like you've wasted two skills right now when he doesn't have move 10.
Yep.
But, okay.
Yep. I mean, Splinter, I suppose his next skill could be... Well, his next skill should probably be block. But after that, to further sort of the role of being a one-turner, get him sidestep,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could do a push and then have him be a one-turner.
Yeah.
But ideally, you want to get the movement up first, and then that's your one-turner, and then develop the other Gutter Runners in other ways.
Yeah.
Let them have other jobs because they are so useful.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Because they can all do any job, so you might as well have one specialization for each one.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
got you. All right, let's take it. Now, this coach hasn't had a lot of success. He's only had 1 win, 10 losses. Let's see. But these are a lot of the coaches that we're covering this season came from the Eurogamer article. So a lot of them are new to Rebbl and a whole. So hopefully he watches this and gets some tips and strategy that he can take back and with him to next season. Let's take a quick
Do you-
look at. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, one last thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember looking at this team when it first started?
Yeah.
Because I'm noticing a few things. One, he only has 2 team rerolls. He has no apothecary, and obviously his team has been gutted. So did he start with like a bench or like a full accompaniment of players?
Yeah, I remember him having.
Apothecary?
Well, I remember he had a full team, but he also had the Rat Ogre, and that's why I was confused about this team over the other one. The other team came in with a few games from Eurogamer, and he had that one turner we'll take a look at in a second. This team I thought was more traditional, just like a standard build with a Rat Ogre. And I know that people before have always said, you can play with a Rat Ogre. I just didn't know how long you played with him for, but he's kept it all season, so I don't know what was it was just working for him, but I don't know. He started out normally, but everybody in this division, all the rats in this division have just gotten crushed. Even the other team that's winning has gotten crushed, so it's just been brutal for him this season.
Okay. So do you want to move over to the other team?
Let's take a look at the other team. What was the name of that team, Charles? Jericho Peppers.
Rebbl
Cheese Thieves. Now this team, they came in and they just lit the scoreboard up because they were one-turning every single turn. The score would be like 3-1, he would just one turn every single turn. And then when we had him on the show, we talked to him and said, you can play a little more patient and one turn when you have to, but if you score 3 times a game, that's 3 line hits that you're going to be taking every turn. So it's just attrition kind of caught up to him. I think at one point he only had 5 players on this team, so he's built it back up to where it is now.
Yeah, I mean,
now the Panier's been the star of this team. That's his one turning.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Do you take the strength up on a gutter runner? I assume you do, but I don't know enough about them. You do. Okay.
Yes. So taking the strength up on a gutter runner is godly. It's actually really, really nice.
Okay.
It would be really, really nice if he got the strength up, and then there's 2 ways of developing the strength up gutter runner. You can you get the strength up and you go wrestle, and then you sort of have him be a bullhawk. Because obviously a strength up gutter runner, you need strength up to do the cage dives. Yeah. Which are ideal anyway. Or you can have the strength up gutter runner and have him have block, and then he's your ball carrier, and then that's it. That's his role. I guess he's going towards the Kevra or Chevra being a ball carrier. And then he's got his bull hawk, which is got the strip ball and the wrestle and the leap.
Yeah, that piece has been very nice. It's actually won a few games for him with that wrestle strip ball ability and leap.
He once got 3 sacks in a single game, and each one of those led to a touchdown afterwards.
Yeah.
Who against who?
I don't remember that race. One of the coaches in the division that we talked about that game. I mean, it was mid-season or so.
Yeah, it was the 6-1 match.
Oh, was that it? Okay. I'll take a look at it while you guys talk.
What was it against
the elf
Lizardman team?
No, it was against the elf team, Mass Bolts. And we thought it was going to be a high-scoring game for both of them, but the ball just kept popping, and the Rebbl Cheese Thieves just kept taking it away and going. So that was one.
Yeah, it seems like the only defense against a Bondas Sacker is if the ball is out of his movement range, because he just pops it if he wants.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. He just popped the ball whenever he wanted. Yeah, this team's being built back up. Storm Vermin, again, he probably needs to focus a little more on them because the gutter runners will, skill up at any time they want to, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this is a nice team from what's left.
So is this a team you take into your second season, or do you scrap it and start over? I assume with that Panier, you keep going until he dies.
Yeah, I would take this team. This is definitely a workable team. What I think Jericho Peppers needs to. He's obviously got a good handle on winning games, but what I think he needs to focus on is preservation. You're right. You're dead right in what you said to him in your previous show. If you're scoring all the time, that means you're also taking hits all the time. So if that's going to be your game plan, then you need to sort of focus on, or accept the fact that you are going to take casualties, because you're going to end up having 3 line of scrimmage blocks every time you score. So you need to build a bench. I think this would be my biggest advice to him. Obviously, focus on building those storm vermin, but then my second piece of advice would be just build a bench as much as you can, and just try to avoid taking damage.
Yeah, I think he is building the bench back up. Like I said, he was down to 5 players. It's just expensive when you have to, buy a player every game. So the other team, well, one thing we didn't talk about, was that a team you would scrap and start over with, or would you continue with that one as well?
Sorry, I'm just taking another look at it.
Because me, I would scrap the team just because I think there's some of the builds that were kind of odd, and there's no going back from. And you're down so many players now that rebuilding is going to take another season.
Do you know if Infant Melt is a relatively new to Blood Bowl coach?
We don't know. We can't get him on. He hasn't talked to anybody. We can't find him.
Okay, because I mean, if what I would do, the advice I would give to him is, I would re-roll this team, and I would just sort of learn from your experiences from this season.
Yep.
And I would re-roll the team. If you enjoy playing Skaven, then carry on playing Skaven. I would re-roll the team. I wouldn't re-roll the team if I was Jericho Peppers.
No, there you go. All right. Any other questions for our guest today, Charles?
No, I'm good.
All right. Kallisti, you cover a division in Rebbl. How long have you been covering that division?
This season.
Just this season. Oh, okay. What division do you cover?
I cover your division. I cover.
Wait, you cover my division? Oh my God! I should probably tune in and listen to your show sometime. I apologize. I don't keep track of a lot of these minor league shows. These.
You were a guest on my show.
I was a guest on your show. You better check the ratings on that. I don't know if that's true or not. No, of course I was. You guys run a very tight ship over there. It's a fun show.
It's me and Hindi. We're goofballs. We're at each other's throats, and I thank you very much for having the patience to come on and stand dealing with us for more than you had to.
Well, no, thank you very much, as your guest host would say. No, it's fun. I'm glad that everybody gets a show in this division, and a lot of these coaches, like I said, came in from the Eurogamer. This is their first experience, so that's why I kind of wanted to jump in and get them first before you guys ruin them. So hopefully next season you guys get some of these guys and you'll recognize some of the names, and it'll be a good time.
I've already recognized some of the names, like Jericho Peppers. I've been watching, seen his match reports.
Okay.
And he's been posting wins, and I've been like, oh, okay, there's another contender for my Skaven mid-throne.
Yeah, there your middle of the pack Skaven team.
Yeah.
Is there a Skaven channel? Do you know? Do they have their own?
There is.
I assume they have one. Okay. So
give me just 1 second. I will tell you what it is.
Well, I'll put that in the show links or something. But what we'll do is we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll come right back with our next segment. Thank you again, Kallisti, for stopping by, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. This is our main event series where Charles punches in the numbers, takes a look at the standings, and determines which game is the most interesting game of the week. Charles, who do you have up for us this week as your main event pick?
We have the Bone Bombers human team facing Mass Bolts.
Bogue Bombers, Mass Bolts. Looks like this is the top of the division team. Mass Bolts, they're fighting for the Challenger Cup spot. Okay, I got that. And a win will clinch the division for the Bombers. So Charles, what are the keys to this matchup for you?
Yeah, I usually like this kind of matchup for elves.
Yeah.
Especially elves with AV8. So I put the key for the humans to hunt those AV7 players to get some numbers on, which makes it easier to surround the opponent and get more blocks later.
Yeah.
Because the opponent will not be able to close out screens if they have less players. So getting some hits into those AV7 is going to help. And then for the Mass Boats, I think Mordenkampf, the guard elf, is going to make a difference. because the humans will not have the ogres, so that means they will not automatically win the blocking part. The only thing they have is that they have 3 guard players and the elves only got 1. So the way they use the guard player is gonna make a big difference this game. And then on both sides, I would say the key is what do these teams do with the start gold? Both of them have a huge bank, so
It looks
if
like they're both
decide-
sitting on 150k.
right.
Okay.
So they both could get wizards
Right.
because it's an important game for them. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna change the way the game looks depending on what they decide to do.
Yeah, I assume they both are saving that 150 exactly for a wizard. A lineman out for the elves, but it's just a lineman with no skills. This is gonna be an interesting game. Elves can out elf you, and I guess humans have to kind of switch to be a more bashy team since they're a hybrid team still, because you're not gonna out elf the elf. Well, maybe you will. That could be the difference in the game.
They do have a movement 9 player,
They
so
do,
they are able to score from long range. It's just that they will not be able to score as consistently as the mass boats.
Well, they have movement 9, but so do the elves, and then the elves can catch that strength 2 piece, and the elves are probably not used to being able to punch somebody so easily. So I don't know. This is gonna be a close one. I have to stick with my gut instinct here and go with boat bombers, just because they haven't done anything wrong. Missing that ogre is definitely gonna hurt, but it just changes how you play your game. You're gonna have to play more of a standard like elf kind of ball. To move the ball, take hits where you can, and keep going. You won't be able to just hold the line of scrimmage and move where you want.
And it's important to remember that the draw isn't a bad result for bulk bombers, where the mass boats drawing for them could possibly put them out of contention for the Challenger Cup spot.
That's very true. Who do you like in this
So-
one?
I'm picking the elves,
No.
maybe because I play elves, but when I look at this matchup and the way it is set up, I think the elves, they just have more tools to win this one.
Well,
Even though these humans are undefeated, they haven't lost yet, I think the elves can pull it off.
yeah, I just can't bet against undefeated, but there is a time where you have to get defeated, so this could very well be
Yeah.
it. It's
And
gonna be
so Juvsek, he picked a draw.
He picked a draw. Oh.
Yeah, we split everyone. Each one of us picked one result for this game.
All right, that'll be interesting. Let's take a look at our next matchup. Ska Pop Skavens versus Commanders in Grief. Now, Ska Pop has not played their game yet, so this could
Right.
look very different. Now, obviously, let's take a look and see. Commanders in Grief come in completely healthy, and so far, I don't know what their team's going to look like for the Skaven, but I'm going to have to pick Commanders in Grief in this one. It just seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean, they've played very middle of the road, whereas the Skaven team just hasn't been able to get their stuff together.
It's their last chance to win a game properly,
Okay.
other than the bye week that
Right.
they're gonna get. So
Yeah.
it's actually the last game of their season right now.
So pride is on the line. Maybe he wants to win this one.
Yeah, that would be interesting, but I still have to pick the Commanders in Grief,
Yeah.
and Jovsek agrees.
Yeah, he has 2 tackle pieces, and Andrew Smaxton is a tackle monster, so
Right.
he might have a monster game this time around. All right. Let's take a look. What's our next game? Rebbl Cheese Thieves. Get back into the action against Bring Out Your Undead. Now, this is going to be an
Yeah.
interesting game. I like this one. This is almost a second match of the week, really, if there wasn't so much on the line.
Right. I almost picked this one, but the fact that it's for the clinching the division, I had to pick the Bombers, but doesn't mean this isn't a great matchup.
Yeah, this is a great game too, and it looks like the Skaven have built their team back up fairly well. They've got players again. They've got a couple blitzers.
And I like how they adjusted the playstyle through the season.
Yeah.
I like better the way they play now.
Yeah, they play a lot more conservatively. Looks like the Khemri team comes in completely healthy, and he's got a couple tackle pieces here too on a blitz route and a skeleton. Who do you like in this one?
I'm gonna go with the Rats. I think the gutter runners can just run around, and they don't need to even pop the ball, but they will probably have a wizard to do so. Just the fact that they can one turn and win even if their defense is not successful makes me pick them.
Yeah, I like the strength for throw raw with sure hands. I just don't know why he's got wrestle again. I think we said that before. And the movement throw. I mean, if he builds a cage with sure hands, he can hold that ball. But if that ball is ever on the ground anywhere, it's gone. So this is an interesting one. My head tells me to take the Khemri team, but just for the giggles, and he's been out for a week, I'm gonna take Jericho Pepper's Cheese Thieves. I think he does. I think he scores 3 touchdowns before we even know what's going on. So.
And the Khemri team, they are very strong. I just think the Skaven has
the move
more
advantage.
tools they can make the game crazy, and if the game does get crazy, they win.
Yep, if the ball starts getting popped out and moved around, it's hard to stop the Cheese Thieves.
Yeah.
Alright, let's take a look. Admin game. Bogue Bombers, Mass Bolts, we looked at. Beer Brawl Club, Dazed and Confused. Another good matchup here. Dwarf versus Nurgle. Quite a points difference there, though. Like 300 points. Oof.
Yeah.
Brawl Club comes in. Looks like they're healthy. They got a lot of guard going on here. I like that they've really built that guard play up. Dazed and Confused. Nurgle team with the Strength 6 beast. That's boy, that's a tough beast.
That's disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got a little bit of guard starting. His Nurgle warriors have block except for this one. He does have a nice claw mighty blow piece here on a Pestigore. You'd hope to see at least one more claw by the end of the season like this, but beggars can't be choosers. Boy, just on paper, I think the Nurgle has a better team here, but the problem with my thinking here is that the Brawl Club, they are not afraid to throw guard in there and then dauntless you uphill with a Troll Slayer. So just for that reason, oof, this is gonna be a tough one.
You're struggling with
I'm
this one.
struggling because he does have the claw mighty blow piece, and he's got enough strength to muscle his way around. You know what? I'm gonna take Dazed and Confused. It's higher TV. I don't know that extra 300 points is gonna help the Brawl Club. What are their records right now? Do you know? Let me take a look. I have to look it up.
I'd say that Nurgle is way up there, like 3rd or 4th, something like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Dazed and Confused. I think the claw mighty blow piece gets it done, and then he just muscles his way around the field.
Yeah, I will also pick the Nurgle. They have been looking great. They actually caught fire as the season went on.
Yep.
And I think they can only get better with some more level ups. So
yeah, that's the good thing about Nurgle is you start out so slow, but you peak so much later. I mean, you can play a Nurgle team for 3 to 6 seasons, pretty consistently.
Yes.
Dwarves.
Jovsek does not agree with us.
Oh.
He saw the dwarves beat out the ogres, and he thinks they can do it again. But
all right. My only prediction here is the Rotter with Sneaky Git dies a horrible death this game. So who takes Sneaky Git? He's still on the team. That's the most annoying thing to me. But there's always that one guy who takes a crazy skill and makes it work. It's just I don't get to do that.
yes.
Let's take a look at Starlin Hornets, Grumble Grok Gorgers. Your team, Starlin Hornets, going up against the Gorgers, the bloated 1720 Gorgers. Without even looking at who's healthy, I have to go with the Hornets. And oh my God, wait a minute. Catcher out, Lyman out, catcher out. Oh, the Hornets come in brutalized. Mama. Wow. Did you look at that? That's he's got 2 blitzers and a thrower and 1 catcher. Basically, that's it. Other than a few linemen. This is looking ugly. Let's take a look at the Gorgers. They come in completely healthy, missing a Nobbler, so this could be interesting. I still have to go with the Elves just because an Elf loner is better than any player on the Gorgers team. I'm gonna go with the Elves in this, but it would not surprise me if the Gorgers get a win just from sheer beatdown and loner rerolls. I mean, you're gonna have, I don't know how many, 3 or 4 loners, and you're gonna have to rely on them for stuff that you normally don't want to rely on them to do. I would. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
But you know what?
Yeah.
The ogre offense, it struggles so much to move that ball, and
It
the
does.
fact that they give up so much TV every match,
Yep.
and people are gonna have wizards against them. It's so difficult for them to score,
Yeah.
and have the wizard on top of it makes it. But I wouldn't be sad to see it. Let's hope.
Well, he did cut his cheerleaders and assistants down to 0, so he's got that trimmed back down. His points are, he's just got a lot of points in things like a Noblar with strength 2. Like, why take that? Why bother?
That costs almost 3 Nobblers.
Well, yeah, it's 70k for that. So it's
Right, so it's more than 3
three
Nobblers.
Yeah, you can have 3 Nobblers and not worry about it. And who are you going to take down with strength 2 other than a gutter runner, maybe? Or another goblin or something. But yeah, that guy's got to get cut. Yeah, other than that, he's just got a lot of bloat on here. So I'm definitely going to take the elves, but it would tickle me pink if these ogres just started bashing and just kept rolling. Who did you pick in this one?
Yeah.
Same thing?
I'm picking the elves as well.
Elves as well.
I usually look at this type of matchup and I see the elves just running around with the dodge unchecked.
Yep.
And not like they have a lot of dodge right now because so many players are off the pitch.
Yeah.
But I still think they had the movement, they have some dodge.
Movement
They
is
can do
so
it.
important against the Gorgers just because you can disengage at any time.
Yeah.
Last game, Drektar Squad versus Bavarian Solarian. Let's take a quick look here.
And you know, I think this is the guy who had the Kazun. He had the coaching assistants. I think you got mixed up.
Oh, do I? Okay. Oh, you're right. Drektar Squad. Oh, you know what? He still has 2 cheerleaders and 2 assistants. So he's 40k.
The number is coming down.
What was it at, like 8 or something crazy?
Yes, he had like 150k on that type of club stuff.
Okay. Let's see. Drektar Squad comes in missing a blitzer and a lineman. And Bavarian comes in missing a skink. Even if both teams were healthy in this one, I have to take the Lizardmen just because Lizardmen as a team, they start off at the top of their careers. I mean, all of that strength to get past is just such a pain in the butt. Even for like strong teams like Orcs, it's just, I mean, you can't get good matchups. You need a lot of guard. You don't have a lot of guard on this Drektar Squad. So with that in mind, I'm going to take the Solarian. Who do you like?
I'm gonna pick them as well. Jovsek agrees, and it's also not just the fact that they have the strength, but it's the skinks. They might have some trouble picking up the ball, but once they do pick up the ball, they are some of the best ball carriers you have in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even at level 1, they are pretty great.
Once they have the ball, they pretty much go anywhere they want as long as they make that roll.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so annoying, and there's so much movement. I mean, movement 8. Who came up with that idea? I don't know. That's such a broken team. I hate Lizardmen. So I think I'll play them next season. Let's see. No, not in REL. In another league in Green. Okay, so that's that game. Is that all of the games? I can't give up my Chaos Dwarves for REL. Are you crazy? That's all of the games. Why don't we take a quick commercial break and we will come back with the end of the show. And welcome back to Friday Night Fights. This is our end of the show outro where we sit around, talk shop, discuss anything coming up. Any news around Rebbl that you've heard recently, Charles? Anything going on?
I don't think so, other than the new league you talked about.
Oh, yeah, I joined a side league for BloodBowl. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of people. I think there's like 25 people in it, just from Rebbl. But they don't allow non-professionals to join, Charles. That's why you didn't get an invite. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was wondering why I wasn't invited.
Yeah, it's probably based on your salary, what you pull in here from Rebbl. They decided they have salary requirements. They don't let any riffraff in. It's certainly not skill-based because they wouldn't have let me in. Let's take a look. One of the things I found interesting is that there is a new bounty out. Have you heard about that?
I'm hoping it's not my player you're talking about.
It is your player. You have a bounty on one of your players. That's good news, Charles. It means you're popular. Charles,
yes, he killed that Strength 5 vampire.
Yeah. You killed a strength
so
5 vampire,
there's
so
a
they've
bounty out of
counter
it.
bountied you. Oh, I love it. I hope somebody actually tries to, because there's only like 2 games left, and if you're not winning, I would just stomp your player every turn just for the giggles. Could happen. Keep him up and healthy, Charles. Is he an important player on your team?
I think so, because rolling that doubles on blitzers has been so difficult for me. And the fact that he got as his first skill there makes him kind of the third most important player of the team.
Yeah, it's a nice blitzer you got there. Sure would be a shame if something happened to it. That's going to be wonderful to see. But there's only like 2 games left, right? And yeah.
Yes.
So the odds of you getting a counter bounty are very slim to none. Other than that, I don't know. Anything else new? I haven't heard any news around Rebbl. In tabletop, I picked up the Halfling team that Games Workshop came out with. Other than that, nothing new.
You like to play halflings?
I don't, but I've been trying to collect each of the box sets in case they decide the game's going away again. That way I can have at least one.
I see.
So I just figured, I mean, they're only like, around here, they're only like $35. So it's not that, and it's only every 3 months. So I was like, well, that'll be my hobby purchase, and I haven't done anything with it.
And then you get to paint them and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep them in the box until I decide what to do with them. Like, right now I'm working on a Night Goblin team to make for a local tournament. Other than that, nothing interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, I like Night Goblins. They're cute. Game-wise, how's your game? How did it go last week?
Oh, I completely destroyed a vampire team. It was
I like to hear that.
so satisfied.
Yeah, and I like to hear that they're gonna get revenge on you too. So everybody's a winner there.
Right.
The game of the year went down, and as everybody expected, it was a 1-1 tie. I don't know if you did you get to see that game, Charles?
Good on you. I didn't get to see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Charles, it was so.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. It really lived up to the hype, I tell you. Other than a few lucky dice rolls, Twiggs nearly lost it. So he managed to get a tie out of it.
Did you complicate his playoff chances at all?
Yeah, him and I took us both down. We're both out of it now. I spiked.
Oh, that feels great.
Oh,
then.
it feels great. Out of spite, I was like, if I can ruin he was trying to get into the kitty cup. What's that thing called? The Challenger Cup, Kid Cup. He was trying to get into that, and by tying, now one other player moved ahead of both of us, and I was like, oh, this is a wonderful day. And now the guy who moved ahead of us, we play next week. So if I lose again, there's no way Dwiggs can get in. So I'm not gonna ever throw a game, but it would be a shame if Dwiggs got removed from playoff contention. Yeah, I couldn't kill his. I tried to kill his special player too. I think I stomped on it like 5 times, but it never died.
It must be satisfying that you guys talk shit a whole season and then you get to stop them.
Yeah, that's the best, when you get to trash talk somebody and then you have to face them and back it up. It happens so rarely in this. I mean, everybody, even the REL chat, just chit chats about everybody and everything, and
yeah, nobody
gets to back it up because they're usually in different divisions.
Yeah,
that's one of the funny things too about Rebbl is like you'll have division trash talk. Like somebody will start on about how great 4A is, and you're like, 4A is nothing, 5A is better, and it's just kind of funny how that stuff. And then you get a little camaraderie there. So remember that Division 4D. You guys could trash talk. Well, maybe you guys don't trash talk anybody because we've seen you guys play. No, I'm just kidding. That's rude. Now they all hate me. I trash talked you, so maybe next season you'll be in the same division with me. Feel free to kill me. I deserve it.
That could happen.
It could absolutely happen because I'm very middle of the pack. Some of these teams will be moved up a little higher than me, I'm sure. All right, cool. That should wrap up the show. Tune in next week. There's only 2 shows left. Good luck to everybody in their week game. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Hello.
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 How's it going, guys?
Oh, we're good. Nice to have you.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Give me just a second here. Now, how do I pronounce your name again?
KallistiMaya.
I'm just messing with you. Have you ever been on a professional radio show before?
No, and I'm not on one now.
I was gonna say. If you're gonna fire back at me, this isn't gonna be as funny for me as it is for you. Alright. Let me pull up this league. Now, I'm not sure why Charles invited you here, so let's take a look. What were you thinking, Charles?
Oh, come on.
What were you thinking about doing?
Well,
We
because
need a Skaven specialist.
He's a Skaven specialist? Okay.
see, he's saying you need a Skaven specialist. I
Yeah.
just worked it out though. I'm playing Zeta tonight in our clan match, and I'm like the third game.
Yeah.
So we're going to take it if I win. I think you're planning on kidnapping me.
What time do you start? An hour from now? What? 10 minutes? What do you got?
No, I've got like I spoke to the Zeta, and
Okay.
we were meant to be playing at 9, but
Okay.
I said maybe 9:20, 9:30.
No, we'll be done in like 10, 15 minutes. Not a problem.
Okay.
We run a tight ship here. Charles, what team we're gonna look at?
The Scap Up Skaven,
Okay.
and then the Rebbl Cheese Thieves just for a bit.
Okay. Now, you want to start with
because
Scap Hop?
they're the two Skaven teams.
All right. Did you send Kallisti the link to the team so we can kind of look at them?
Yes.
Which division are they in?
4D.
Okay.
His team's been wiped out. All right.
My special admin powers allow me to.
Oh, it's okay. I knew you had a slow computer, so I thought you could just look on the website at the team. You think I'm joking? I'm completely serious.
No, I know you're being serious.
Alright.
I'm glad to know the infamy of my computer is.
It's far surpassed you, yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right. So if you pull that team up, I'll go ahead and start the show. Unless you guys ready?
I'm ready.
All right.